Once again, that world and all humanity was about to be annihilated. One of the men, dissatisfied, questioned the why this be happening again in front of him. A being of darkness had fun with the boldness of a mere human. Dare question him sitting on a throne made of bones. The being just watched, while the man with courage wielded your sword and screamed, "I did everything what I could," but the creature does not seem convinced. On the contrary, still mocking, showed more several people in a suit and tie. The man recognized every face there. Everyone moaned your name, asking, because that he was happening to them seemed empty, as if they had lost the soul. Gong Hyuk visibly nervously tried justify yourself with mind-trembling voice to save everyone, me, but didn't even manage to finish a woman. He appeared out of nowhere and cut it with a question direct. That's right, true. Or you just believe in this. He stayed in shock, didn't even have time to react, because on the other side, a man appeared of expression. Calm down, saying you will fall into the abyss, and suddenly he was surrounded, people with dead eyes looking like zombies. They shouted your name at the same time, "You are going to hell." Scared, he looked around trying to do all, "Shut up." Desperate, shouted, "Do you think same that they would do it was better?" Then you heard a soft voice calling, "Brother." He turned around on time and saw a young woman. The wind swayed her hair. Rayon Gucci era. He ran until her calling your name, but she just turned around and, left in the direction opposite, tried to go back, but the others, people grabbed their legs, preventing that would advance. He saw Rayon disappearing on the horizon. He stretched out his hand, trying reach LA with tears. In the eyes it was clear he doesn't. I wanted nothing of that, but soon was swallowed by the crowd in the background, could only listen to someone calling, as an echo hunter, New York hunter to go on York. That's when he woke up in a jump, sweating cold and completely in shock. The scene changes and we are taken to another place, a dungeon dingy inside ours. Protagonist walked beside two people. One of them ended to receive a message. The preparations for inspection were ready. The problem was that the number of hunters what needed to be contained only increased, and there was no enough people to use. The avatar of Morpheus was at that time that Nioke stopped diverting the look for A of the cells. A heavy tone commented, if Sigmund were alive, he could have saved everyone inside. The cell, a woman scratched the wall with your nails, murmuring for herself, "Us needs to go up, let's all go to die." But when looking for her, the thought from Niruke changed. Even if had left Sigmund alive, humanity would have been destroyed the same way. Knowing this, it returned, walking. The man who accompanied him lowered the head. How if you agreed, Neo? That was right. After giving one last look in the facilities, the protagonist he thought in expandilus in the future, and then he left there like that. What he walked away, the two that accompanied him seemed relieved. One wiped the sweat of the brow, and the woman released a long sigh, clearly exhausted. He is more difficult than I imagined, said. She was the first time that I saw to Nihiyoke closely. The man next door, fixing the glasses, he responded, just look, not for him. Can you believe it? It's the guy who conquered Babel for humanity. He looks cold too much to be called of hero. The woman stayed in silence, and the two followed. Walking through corridors, the man continued, but it is precisely that's why that he had achieved, while the others hunters who fought with him in Babel were being corrupted. It was the coldness from him that prevented everything to collapse. That was it that saved humanity suddenly. A prisoner clung to the cell bars with force, with the eyes wide-eyed and full of despair. He shouted, "Please let me out," but it was completely ignored. The scream loudly echoed, shivering all over the place from afar. Nioke, he could still hear the scream Sigmund's echoing, but when turning, the corridor was surprised by a man running towards you, completely desperate. What is happening here? Newt asks, already tense. The boy tried to explain but badly could speak, stuttering. He released just a name, young S.E. at the same time. New York, frozen. Your body froze. Put a few seconds. As if that name had paralyzed all around about that in the room of control. The alarm does not stop stopped sounding. Like this, that Neok entered was received. Urgently the invasion, it started through California. All the west and north of the states united were once taken, and the east also is collapsing. We need of your orders. Now, Neok's eyes widened. A single thought echoed in your mind. Damn why I hesitated without responding. He turned on the heels, and it started leaving the room. One of the officers, scared, asked, "Wait, where are you going, Neok?" "Only," he responded firmly. "I'll go myself." Look over there from him. Got serious, the hard expression, and finally he. Brown supper ready to face whatever came the next scene. It's brutal. We see the cruel cut of a sword crossing the body of a woman. Blonde Neok, our protagonist, was there, leaning on her shoulders, calling your name with the voice embargoed. Yong-se. She coughed, blood weakened, but still managed to say, "Brother, I believed in you." The scenario around was a real hell, a field of battle, covered by bones, scattered buildings destroyed, and the smell of death in the air itself. So, New York, little blanket, the sword stuck, tears in her ran by your face, falling silently, while Yong stretched out the hand to him, "And I would thank you right away then." She fell without strength, covered of dead blood. Neok stayed kneeling there, property only managed, say with the voice, broken, "I love you." The wind blew strong, messing around your hair. But other than that, everything was in silence. Only he was left. There in that scenario, desolate in front from New York, the world had fallen once again. The buildings were in ruins. Humanity once again. He had been annihilated, but maybe the answer to prevent that all this, if repeated, was about to emerge within, of the final dungeon known, like Babel, at the top of the Tower of the Tyrant King. A new final confrontation happened. New York, ours protagonist faced himself. Tyrant King in a battle brutal. The enemy advanced with ferocity, laughing in a way desperate, as if that was the climax of everything, with a look insane and a smile, sadistic, printed on the face. He screamed, "Taking of the 12 divine thrones, the strongest and last hunter of humanity, your power will also be mine, with one blow violent." He released Newt against the wall. The impact was strong, blood stained the floor, the wall, everything was then, that in the middle the destruction. Long ones appeared, blonde hair. A woman appeared, and reached out, concentrating a golden power which involved your body in a glow. Intense. The Tyrant King laughed in surprise. What still remained one more. He looked at her from above, with contempt. Now that the hunter stronger chew, Gong Hyuk, what fell? You a simple girl, thinks what can you do, but she doesn't, hesitated with a look. Firmly murmured, veil of immortality, and that's when, without warning, Gong Hyuk nailed your sword straight to the chest of the Tyrant King. What, why you still is alive, shouted the creature in shock. New York smiled, trusting for love of God. You continue the same idiot as always, lowering the guard. So that easy, the Tyrant King tried. Pull yourself together. Sure that wound, wouldn't it be enough to stop him? But then something called your attention below of your feet. One, the circle golden magician shone intensely. He looked around confused without understanding. As that there was appeared, it was too late. Current's magic emerged from the ground. Arresting your body with force was the powerful Glypnir chain. With the enemy completely, Nyok fixed assets, raised his hand and invoked the avatar of Zeus. The divine energy exploded across the field, and the face of the Tyrant King, distorted of pure horror. "No, how dare you? You are just a human, our hero." Give a long sigh before stating, "A mere human." How rude on your part, with a smile condescending, makes a gesture. Rude with your finger is reciprocated. The kindness. Your demon Thursday. The tyrant screams in pain, while the currents divine and energy sacred consume it completely. An explosion. Colossal swallow the whole area, shaking the tower to its core. Our protagonist quietly took out the packed cigarette from the pocket and slowly light by inhaling, as a gesture of victory, looking your opponent that now was defeated on the ground, says, snapping the language itself, that he will die of any way you are me. Giving work at the moment. Next, Neox. If you come back to Yongshi, he recognizes how much her shield was decisive at that moment. Was the witch guaranteed the victory, but when looking for the face of the girl, just see tears. She stares at him, the trembling voice. If it were my brother older, he would have saved everyone, and we that we believe in you, who we follow a silence heavy, take care from place to scene. Next show the bodies scattered across the field, batteries of allies fallen, and then her scream echoes with pain. Why don't you protected us? The tears run by the face by Yoongi while she confronts pain. It is clear she want to understand, want to know if everything that was worth it, the pen. If the obsession from him in defeating the demon lord really justified everything that one sacrificed Neok. Without responding, immediately take the cigarette by the mouth once again and bring in silence. A slight smile. Ironic appears in the corner, from his lips, and then the truth he comes to the surface had returned 13 times, 13 attempts, 13 failures. It didn't matter whatever I did, if he won, if I lost, if you retreated or advance. The result always was the same, the end of the world, the ruin. It was inevitable, the real one cause of everything, a war, brutal, ELA. It started among the new humans. The so-called hunters and the ancients guided humans for a vision distorted of salvation. They said that would transform the world in a paradise, but for that tried to merge the minds human in a conscience collective. Behind of everything was a hunter crazy, a man destroyed due to trauma of massacre and survival, a survivor, or better, a prisoner confined in a hospital psychiatric. It was him who led all this about, that the world collapsed. Families fled of hunters, murderers that had lost the control of their own avatars, nor the weakest elderly people escaped children. All were dragged to chaos, and the worst in all the lines of time. The world that he saved ended perishing of the same way, was when New York, he threw the cigarette on the floor, closed his fist around of the sword, and revealed your true mission, to eliminate all that threatened the destruction of the world. Not only the army of the Demon King, but anyone that put humanity at risk. The decision weighed in your body. His hand was shaking, and Hong Shi widened the eyes, understanding what would come, but before that could to do anything, was eliminated. No mercy. New York was paralyzed, had something wrong that wasn't I didn't know. It was him who killed, turned around in an installation, and there he was, the Tyrant King still alive. You brat roared furiously. With this level of skill, you really thought that could beat me? Taken by anger, the king made the floor explode in thorns of lava that advanced direct against New York. He tried to escape, but it wasn't enough. Logo. Our hero was spitting blood. The Tyrant King laughed triumphantly. You said who defeated me 6 times, say. That while sleeping, Neok really fallen, replied with a weak voice but firm in the 10th regression. I defeated you alone. That's why this time I focused in the hunters first, but I think that the damage was a little below of the necessary. Took a break, was it because I left the sacred spear Longinos in the 60th 5th floor? If at least I had the avatar of King Ashura Uranus, or the combination would have been perfect. The Tyrant King frowned. As you know of these names and Longinos? No, there is none. Mission with these Yoki. Information looked up, staring the enemy with a slight smile. I already told you. Remember, I defeated you 6 times, and then completed with conviction, and I go, knock you down. The king again released a laugh, mocking. No could believe that human yet dared to do joke about that situation, but no patience for more windings. Extended the hands, releasing your power arrives of nonsense, and what, however, did not retreat, lowered his head, released a light laugh. He too, I was tired of that. Everything was time to end, raised the arms, and at that moment your face began to transform. Half of it assumed a form skeletal, with the eyes burning of determination. He declared that both the army of your enemy as the hunters, everyone would be eliminated, cheering to put an end to this curse regression. The scene changes, and we are thrown direct for a new year, where the Tyrant King reappears, this time hovering over a city. Modern eyes shone from him in a golden intense, and the smile Caddick Vineyard accompanied of a speech. Sinister inferior beings, be swallowed by the vortex of terror the guy wanted. It was really worth seeing all humans of this new dimension being exterminated for your army. Feeling so much fear, who shouted until death. The people stayed in shock shock without knowing how to react. No, it took a long time for this terror. Spread around the world, whole from the point where that light he appeared, arose 2080 and 8 dungeons in several places of the planet, and with them came an invasion of monsters. The army human was even confident in the beginning. Many soldiers laugh, thinking that those creatures kind of bizarre, and apparently donkeys would be easy to eliminate. Just shoot, they thought of them. But it didn't take long to reality hit hard. As soon as the shots got it right, an explosion. It happened, getting up dust and debris, and when the smoke downloaded there, they were the monsters firm, horrendous and thirsty by blood. Without any scratch was that's where it fell. The file the weapons modern know did not even tickling in them. The lines from the front started to retreat, but it was too late. Too much chance to escape had gone away in the middle of this chaos, when humanity, it was already being crushed by the feeling of impotence total. A group emerged that turned the game, the so-called hunters. They started to appear just at that moment in which the people cried of fear, finding that we're going to die. These hunters were human awakened, capable to invoke avatars that nothing more were than versions, powerful of themselves. Depending on the personality of each one, these avatars took shape, unique, like heroes, gods, or even creatures legendary with them on the line from the front. Hope it started shining again. Little by little the hunters managed, led one against attack, were occupying the dungeons one by one, with the price highest. More of 1 billion of people dead in the world. Whole humanity was bleeding but still resisted. Only that, what nobody I was waiting was what came then, when everyone thought that the worst had already passed. He came a message who left everyone jaw-dropped all that, who faced until now the invasion, the terror the monsters don't past of a simple tutorial. This is just zero beginning, murmured one of the soldiers with the voice trembling, almost choking in words. Not that it may be true. At this moment of pure shock, an intense light arose behind him. A strong voice, but gentle, echoed to all humanity. I, Archangel Metatron, I have a request for all of you. The figure heavenly that appeared seemed a woman with hair long fluttering in a way almost magical. She continued calmly, until now we achieved. Contain the king demon and the invaders dimensional the maximum possible, but now we only managed to maintain some laws and restrictions. That's why we need of help of you. Metatron explained that some hunters would be chosen for the next one great invocation, and these would have that follow the path to a dungeon known end. Like Babel there, they would need go up a floor per floor until arriving to the top defeat the king tyrant and conclude the dungeon. The soldiers, even full of doubt, listened attentive half, without believing in all that. With the same serenity she added, if Babel doesn't, is completed within 20 monster years, yet stronger will be released. And then, it won't be only humanity. All this dimension will be destroyed. But before that despair, take care. She completed. Yet there is hope. Hunters can stay infinitely stronger in Babel. And we angels, we promise support you to the maximum. After of these words, Metatron extended the hands, issuing a light, still more intense blessing everyone in that dimension. It was as if a new cycle had started. Not it took a long time, and there were already people in the dungeons staring absurd dangers, but not even everyone was prepared. Some awake used curses or powers flaming only that the monsters they barely felt tickling. They gave everything of itself, but it seemed the line is useless from the front that was responsible for the defense of the group was being crushed, and the warriors started to beat in retreat, one of them in panic. Total screamed, and I want to die. I'm going to die in a place like this while running. This guy is over stumbling badly, fell rolling several times until it stops on the floor, fully vulnerable. The creature, huge and brutal, raised your axe, double-ended, ready to finish the service. One of the companions shouted, angry and despair, "Hey dude, get up you idiot. How long will stay lying down there?" But it seemed too late. The monster came down the arm with everything, and everyone thought that the boy had turned puree, the creature. Then he turned to the other eyes, shining of fury, doing all enter in panic and run to save yourself, leaving the fallen boy back. That guy on the floor was nobody less than ours protagonist, Gong Hyuk, a veteran, with more of 200 years of life, and passing for your 10th regression. Poor covered thing of dust. He released a little smile, crooked, and murmured, I almost died like this, that I arrived already. Of Gonique foot walked slowly to the body of a man fallen, and the sound from your steps echoed on the dirty floor from the dungeon with the expression lightly feathered, or maybe sarcasm. He commented, thanks, if it weren't you, pull EU, agriculture. He was already kneeling if next to of the body, and without ceremony, it started to search the pockets while called your avatar off server. He sends the report. Other hunters approached in a hurry. One of them shouted, sorry, for us, was late. One of the that was on the line facing badly held a barrier of energy with your hands panting, and seeing the reinforcement arriving, shouted, desperate fast. Two more fell, but one of the hunters pointed in the direction by Gong Hyuk, surprised when seeing him crouched. What are you doing? Is in shock about that. Gong Hyuk pulled from his pocket of the corpse a pack cigarette and a lighter. Bingo smiled, relieved. He lit up the cigarette calmly, gave a puff, delayed, and murmured, satisfied. How I suspected. The first cigarette after of regression is always the best logo. Multiple windows of system started to appear before him. Result of the analysis of avatar showed that we're in the tutorial number 589, facing the boss fierce. Minotaur, it was the 8th team attack of yours, and the report displayed the living members and those who already had been eliminated, including a woman called Ha Yong-si. At this moment herself, Yong-sai called him awakening. He of immersion in the data EI partner. It's dangerous here. Return to the rear soon. She had only 19 years old, and your avatar, it was goodbye, friend. But before that, he could to respond. Another hunter shouted, dear help, not there. Stay still. The looks of the team turned around to Gong Hyuk with shock when they see that he still was smoking in the midst of chaos. With a tone completely sarcastic, he replied, relax me. Give more a couple of minutes. When I finish this cigarette, I kill him. But he was outraged. Is it? This is a joke here. It is real. You can die in truth. Remember this when everything ends. But Gong Hyuk didn't even blink shit again. Calmly released smoke and answered with a look. Carefree, you, who are you in a hurry? Too much goes even close this today. Yong-shi, concerned, observed the way carefree from him without understanding to where was that going. It was then that he finally moved, kept the cigarette, drew his sword, and advanced with speed. His gaze changed. He was completely focused like this. What approached of the creature called your attention, but soon noticed something. The Minotaur. It was fast, very fast, too fast to be followed normally, then concluded that there was only a form to beat. Low, anticipating every movement, a smile trusting graduated in your face. The Minotaur released a roar, deafening the red eyes shining of hatred at seeing your new opponent. He pressed with force your weapon, preparing the Gong Yi attack. In turn, not got intimidated, observed carefully, and at the moment exact deviated of the coup of Machado, as if it were easy, and then against attacked a clean cut, necessary and powerful. The creature screamed in pain. The smile on the face of Gong Yi was still wilder. He spun in the air as an insane dancer, the face distorted of pure excitement. The Minotaur roared again, open mouth ready for another attack, but our hero mocked, opening that big mouth again. I'm gonna pull it out outside you. Weakling with one blow, brutal, buried the blade in the body of the creature, knocking down the monster on the floor, landed laughing, hunting of the allies, as if the enemy had been only one, heating. A glow predator emerged in his eyes. It was evident he felt genuine pleasure in that battle, but suddenly everything changed. A spasm, a sharp pain exploded on. Your back got the Gong Hyuk completely by surprise, and your body stiffened in the same moment. Nick grit your teeth with force and looked at Low. Was there, you see the arm of the Minotaur still grabbed your leg with a force absurd. The tightness remained yet more intense, making it clear that animal was far away to have been defeated. Your eyes, reds burned of fury and a growl. Serious escaped from your throat. Monstrous the companions by Gong Hyuk froze, terrified. The shock took over of the group, and Yong shouted in panic at realized that everything had been a trap. Rick got frustrated even after, of so many regressions. Even with all the experience, its attributes current, no had been enough to end with that thing. The eye of the Minotaur narrowed, still shining more, with that insane rage, thinking that the victory was right. He released a roar, deafening, raising the arm ready to crush Gong Hyuk at once. But the hunter reacted in the blink of an eye, with eyes with a movement accurate, stuck the sword straight to the eye of the creature, forcing the blade to the bottom to kick and scream. "You useless, except now who lost? I'll send it soon. Your little friends beyond too." The voice, it came out cold, almost mocking with a boost. Hank took off the eyeball of the creature, making blood gush everywhere. A window of the system, he appeared suddenly, with that classic sound of mission-complete victory confirmed the allies. Gong Rick stayed open-mouthed, with the turnaround absurd logo, then the results of the hour. Raider rose on the screen. He alone caused over 80% of the total damage. Titles and rewards started popping in the interface, confirming the domain full that he had in battle. But with the fight finally closed, his body couldn't take it more. Gongri fell to his knees, collapsing once and for all. Yor's companions worried. They asked if he was well. He ignored it. The pain closed the teeth and tried to get up with difficulty. Heavy, look of a determination, dark. The others realized on time. His knee was destroyed was not something that a simple healing magic would handle. It started trying. Keep it agreed, talking to him, trying to cheer up. But they knew the thing was serious inside Gong Hyuk. He was "don't swear at yourself" believed. That had hesitated right at the end. That's it, Kweyong. If it appeared pushing everyone in despair, she ran until he, and without thinking twice, activated a skill special. Your hands started shining with an energy, intense green, and soon a lot of flowers began to materialize around of his leg. It was a spell rare cure, restoring slowly that damage, all while young. If you worked in the cure, ELA does not stopped talking with him, the voice loaded of concern. "Please don't exaggerate anymore. If it happens something worse with you, I will succeed. Face everyone there at the orphanage." Her hands trembled slightly, but the spell remained firm. Even so, Gong Yue remained of eyes closed property, as if it had erased forever. She insisted, begging to what he woke up. It was then that suddenly he opened his eyes and stood up slowly, releasing a grumble. "Okay, worrying with them before me, it's time." Yong felt a weight get off the chest. A sigh of relief escaped without that. She understood little then. The leader of the squadron, Park Juntai, best known as the Bronze Giant, he appeared clapping and smiling. "Good job, guys. I imagine that our exhausted after of this capture rest. Good today. The wounded have already been treaties." He did not wasted time, and it was straight for what everyone I was waiting. The distribution of the rewards. Several windows of system opened up in front of each hunter, showing the gains individual. While the majority celebrated, Gong Hyuk looked to the screen and released a sigh heavy. That he had received seemed insignificant close of the effort that had he installed the language. Irritated. "You can only be as a joke with me in the same Gong." Hyuk time faced the leader bluntly. "You just is distributing trash," and without ceremony reached out. Pass by, soon the currency of skill. That coin was rare when used. Granted a skill, permanent value, a fortune at Mercado Park. Jun Tai, it was left visibly uncomfortable, trying to think in a justification, but before that could speak, a member of the squadron got involved in the conversation. "What you said, you brat, same. That has been done. The best plays in the end. You wanting monopolize the currency, most valuable." The subject seemed about to exploding, with every word snorting of anger. How a dog, small, trying to pay the brave Gon Rick Claro, did not lose the chance to poke calmly there. Pincher the guy narrowed it down, the eyes creaking, the teeth until not held back. More clenched his fists and shouted, "I will guarantee that you never more use this mouth, insolent." I was about to let go the punch when Park Jun Tai got in the middle, trying to calm down the moods. The leader activated your skill special. Your body started to change, winning the texture and the resistance of, and pure ready to. Separate both before the fight climbed. The boy felt the pain throbbing in the hand after to hit that seemed a wall of stone. The body of bronze of Park of a tie. The leader released a sigh, took the coin, and apologized, same that the rules send distribute according to the contribution. I wasn't able to avoid greed. Then reached out to Gong Hyuk. "Here you go, was the very rare coin. With the skill, death instant, Gong Hyuk caught without hesitation, held Yong Shi by the hand, and pulled out of there, grumbling about the attitude of the leader only, that before IR very far away, another man intercepted him grabbing your collar. Do you have any idea of the value of a coin of these? How can deliver something so precious like that? I will own the scene called Attention of the Whole Group that started to question what Park sang my thought that was doing with the captain join, tried to calm down the climate. We are comrades, no needs to stay so angry. Activated your skill again, the body returning to cover. With the texture metallic and with a smile malicious completed, it was not a choice. Mine just followed the rules. Sanguine stayed in silence for a moment, took a deep breath and released the captain, then in a serious tone shot, "If you think that is untouchable, just because as skills, one day until this, your head of bronze goes be crushed before Gong Hyuk, and Yong Si could leave for good." Sang Minho, he called them back. Gong Hyuk, without paying at all, scratched his nose, pretending that wasn't even there. Listening, but the man spoke serious. "This is a world where people kill each other for an item, or our currency. You saw those ones dead hunters, not around here, saw if not want to end. How they change of attitude and let go this greed, disgusting the answer by Gong Hyuk." It was Clara raised the middle finger and waved, as if it were bi-friendly. Yong looked at himself for him and asked if it really was good. Warned that if the rumors spread, he could be banned of any squadron of attack. He just released smoke of a cigarette newly lit and answered without being shaken, "I don't walk with weak, just you and I already are enough." Yong, if it fell in laughter, but soon asked surprise, "How is that? I don't you knew that you smoked." Gong Hyuk took a deep breath, passed the hand in her hair, and he even said after to revive, 10 times you continue, so cute as soon as possible." She stayed confused without understanding. He just swallowed once again, while in the mind remembered of every moment in which it was needed. Kill LA. And in a thought dingy wondered, when will I have that kill you again? We are taken to the gym serum in the courtyard. Internal, a child had fun floating by AR while invoked your avatar. Icarus was not the only one. Several others did the same, laughing and competing for C, who went up higher until one of them whispered if to Yong, "If you find out we'll be mad." And there was no other way. She appeared at the door with the face closed, already knowing that had warned 1,000 times that it wasn't supposed to use the skills. In there Yong Si was known as the gang's grandma title that left her irritated just listening, and when it started running after from them, the children laughed and floated yet faster through the corridors. They passed flying in front of the room of our protagonist sitting on the bed. Gong Gix ignored the racket and opened his window of status. The look was serious. He mentalized the mission. This was yours, 13th regression to prevent the extinction of humanity. Hundreds of years had already have passed, and he knew that was already at the limit. As a human, when seeing your mental strength scoring less 50 points, thought, I think what this regression will be. The last one invoked your avatar observer and asked that displayed the status screen. He remembered well the coins normal were categorized by the colors of the rainbow. Every hunter and avatar had a potential hidden that was only revealed when using the currency. Does not existed a right way to spend Gong Hyuk. Then it started to tighten the button to invest 80 coin. Note strengthening of your avatar confirmed the operation, and soon a sequence of windows of system popped, announcing the increase of level converted. Those 80 and 2 coins were worth about 30 and 2 million of one. He released a slight smile, imagining the face that Yong would do. If I knew the size of the investment the avatar had finished to achieve, level 9 releasing the so expected option synchronization gonic. No, he thought twice, and confirmed the request. A window reading of information appeared, and the avatar approached, slowly ready to start the process. But at the moment in which he touched it, stopped in shock. Gong Rix held on tight, his hand pulling or close and speaking in a low tone and intense. You see, it's not yours, EU of the future within of mine memories. The avatar swallowed hard, a cold sweat dripping by the temple outside. A glow intense began to escape through the crack from the door of the room, illuminating the corridor. The interface of the system appeared before of them with a notification shocking. Unique skill acquired. Awakening forced the message followed, explaining that the form of origin was being expanded with the potential confirmed the process. However, it looked brutal. The avatar released a grunt, activating your second ability forecast that allowed calculate possible future scenarios. Gong Hyuk, without hesitation, opened his hand and designed a hologram in shape of various grades. Red dots started flashing by map, thus releasing your third ability track enemies and display them in real time. Even with all this advance, the avatar I had already beaten at the limit of awakening to unlock the skills. Finals would be necessary. 5 coins of the category Navy. Rick analyzed the status, calmly closed the windows, and without giving explanations, disabled all the skills turned around for the avatar, giving a slight wave, good job, and closed the subject there outside from the academy. Saron shadows moved, discreetly observing the lights that escaped from the windows. The repetitive sound of an axe scratching the ground echoed in the silence, mixed with conversations muffled about someone. What had stayed with all the coins of skill when Machado was supported on the shoulder of the owner. It became clear that it was a group whole, and the most angry theirs growled. That's why that I came kill him now, next to a DOS companion sweating nervously. Will he? It is fine. He defeated a minotaur not alone. It was. Then a man, hooded and mysterious, murmured that anyone would be finished if caught by surprise. Asked for him, show your avatar, devour. But the man, just, he responded. The 7th great invocation of the Tower of Babel is coming necessary. Be strong enough to crush anyone. If I devour the avatar of healing and the hunters who killed the minotaur alone, I can arrive to rank B. He closed the fists, confident. But before that could, if you sink further in that thought, a scream cut the AR, one of yours. Companions had been wholesale, and there was Gong Hyuk holding a knife, bloody, staring the hooded one. Humans have little musculature. No, it's so satisfactory. Stabbed. The group froze, surprised, but the man, haired reds, reacted quickly, sphering a heavy blow with the axe at the same time, in which he smiled. So it's you, little thief. The rumors were true. Courage you have, Pina, which is a little weak. He pressed the axe against the gong knife. Ye, but the hunter did not retreat. On the contrary, mock if you want. To show force, try in a stable sumo, with one jump quickly got rid of from the squeeze. Retreated a few steps and evaluated the situation without waste time. Crossed the space among them with a technique, precision, opening a gap and knocking down 2 enemies at once, with the skill, judgment, situational. He moved with a sense, combat sharp, almost dancing between the opponents, every step and blow calculated in struggle against humans. I definitely know I lose. But then your eyes turned around to the hooded. And what type of monster is this guy? The man closed the teeth, and one of his companions stepped forward, confident of what could handle with the situation, only before even to act. The hooded one opened his mouth in a way grotesque and shouted, Avatar, a Goliath. A creature appeared in the act. Skin green, eyes reds, burning with hatred, sharp teeth, too much for human beings. Gong Hyuk closed the right teeth, of which that wasn't an avatar, but yes, a monster in truth. The redhead doesn't wasted time and ordered. Though tear apart, he Gong Hyuk faced the enemy without a drop of fear, and in the blink of an eye of eyes invoked, your avatar, observe. She appeared soon behind him, floating with the presence cold and calculating, activated your skill forecast and dozens of screens. Holographic opened up around of the opponent, marking each point attack possible reading. It was Clara. The red-haired man would make a coup, simple and fast, aiming Gong's head. Rick, anticipating the movement, he bent down node exact moment, diverting. With ease, with the observer next to, he could foresee each attack dancing through the air and escaping of all, as if it were joke, can come from wherever you want, provoked. Smiling, satisfied the redhead each time, more irritated I couldn't, to believe in what I saw. No attack was right, your blows became desperate, but the result was always the same. A clean detour, almost elegant, then in a jump, perfect Gong Yi emerged above of the opponent and went down the blade with a cut clean and precise. The blood, it gushed while the redhead fell without strength at the feet of man. Mysterious hooded blinked without understanding, like that was over so fast until you feel the presence suffocating by Gong Hyuk right behind him. Turning around, tried to ask why he was doing this, but the answer came along with one blow accurate. By the same reason the blade cut the EUAR. I am a murderer. The Gong smile. Rick was cold, confident, almost challenging the next. Trying. The man hooded took a leap back, sawing the teeth, visibly irritated with the boldness of Gong Yi. Suddenly something seemed to occur to you, and he started to search the nervous cover. Where he is. Gong Yi opened a smile, provocative. What a thing that you are looking for, and that he spun on the fingers a human weapon before hold it tight by the handle. A weapon that doesn't work against monsters of dungeon. I am asking myself because she is in circulation before the hooded one react. A shot. The bullet echoed crossed one of yours allies that fell with a scream. Equin shouted the man, but it was too late. Gong Hyuk turned the gun, aiming accurately and shooting in all that were ahead. A smile, sadistic, SE drew in his face, as if I was savoring each shot. When the last it fell, he walked quietly between the bodies, the smoke still leaving. The pipe stopped before the man, mysterious, and with a kick he knocked him down. What you are doing? Asked, pointing the pipe directly for him. It's obvious that you don't. He's dead, right, man? Snapped the language, but before that, reacted. Another shot resounded. Gong Hyuk, with the expression of false pen, commented, if you were kill me, should have done that last time. The shot had got it right. The ground well next to of the head by Park Jung-tae, what instinctively transformed the body in bronze. Gong Hyuk's approach, sharp voice, you were going, kill me. And Yong-shi also later I was going to play the blame on that bald guy from the dungeon. No, the captain was going, stuttered denying, but it froze when he saw the barrel to aim direct. Your forehead, your eyes also are made of bronze. Gong Hyuk asked firmly. The fear made join and tremble, begging so that it does not throw. Cold. Gong Hyuk continued. Society secret, the giants. You are just their henchmen. Aren't you surprised? Juntai. I wanted to know. How did he know? That's it. Gong Hyuk narrowed the eyes and ordered to send a message for them. The little fish who sold the soul by a reward. Miserable. There will be an end. Pathetic. The savior hates small fish. The captain, still trembling, said he would that, but Gong Hyuk, without mercy, pulled the trigger. A scream, shrill, filled the air when Juntai fell back, covering the eyes. Gong Hyuk. No, he was shaken, lit a cigarette, releasing the smoke. As if nothing had happened to the foot, pressing the chest, the captain took aim in the other eye. Juntai begged, and Gong Hyuk asked that I should have said for them. The captain took a deep breath and answered firmly that the weaklings that they sold their souls for a reward, miserable, will have an end. Pathetic. The savior hates weaklings. Gong Hyuk opened a smile stained of blood. Good memory. So just to intimidate more downloaded shots against the body of bronze, screaming, now get out of my front. Juntai staggered out desperate while Gong Hyuk swallowed another cigarette. Satisfied, mission completed. He was over to eliminate the famous gang of murderers conquering the soul titles, Mentor Man and Duelist on the line of death, the dungeon. 2 orcs was taken by the silence and by the smell. The floor is covered in blood. It was a carpet of fallen bodies. The grunts from them replaced for a silence mortal between the shadows. The sound of footsteps echoed until a dry crack. It broke the heavy AR. An orchid was hit with brutal force, blood on the face, sneezing, while his body was spinning and plummeted on the floor. Nice shot, murmured Gong Yue with a smile. Carefree, spinning paddock your weapon before to position. LA again. Another orc, yet conscious, looked at him with the eyes wide-eyed, releasing a sigh. Trembling right away, a bigger one and more robust raised his hands. The voice desperate echoing down the hall. I give up, I don't give up, I will attack more Gong Hyuk humans. Arched the eyebrow, curious. I swear, same repeated the orc, almost kneeling. Huh, that was all? What Gong Hyuk, he responded, leaving a silence uploaded to AR. Then with a means smile added, in this case, if you answer this riddle, I leave you. Go. The orc lit up of hope. All almost breathless. If serious Gong Hyuk got up a finger and calmly asked what it's read and explodes in a second. The orc blinked in confusion. He tried reason, the frowning face, without realizing what the real one danger. No, he was in the question, but in the answer that would come, the evil orc had time to process the question. An intense light cut the AR together with the message of the system. Activating ability 1 hit kill. Gong Hyuk advanced in a blur, and the impact echoed. Like thunder within from the dungeon, blood and fragments flew for everyone the side, while the orc's body fell lifeless with a smile cold and the face splashed of red. Gong Hyuk muttered the answer. It's your head. Idiot soon. A new notification. It appeared you eliminated all the squadron. Warrior of the orcs. Multiple windows. Blues began popping around him, listing rewards and titles obtained. He remained there with the sword in the hand, as if the massacre had been just more a Tuesday. Any was then what a female voice echoed behind his. This. No, it was a little exaggerated. Gong Hyuk turned around and arched the eyebrow. Exaggerated. He gave shoulders pointing for her. They were going to die of anyway. After of a year, you get used to it without waste time. Called Avatar Observer, your partner appeared in Volta in blue energy, and a new window shone. Navy coin for 5, he smiled. Wake up the mind's eye. Other notification exploded in the air, activating ability Force Awakening an Observer. It started shining intensely, your body emanating a power, overwhelming the final message it didn't take. Long ultimate skill from the Observer unlocked. Mind's eye. Her display opened, revealing one blue eye, radiant, shining like a jewel. Long live. Hank closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of energy that flowed by the Observer, ready with that the preparations are complete. And yes, that collected the drops approached. I already got it all. Items, let's go back for Seiron Academy. But Gong Hyuk didn't move. Your eyes narrowed. No, let's go back, at least not for a while. Young-Siu stared, confused. He looked away to the ground, and with a voice calmed down asked, you don't thought that today we were loading more weight? That the normal, before what? She answered, a circle red magician shone on your feet. The heat rose along with a feeling by pull in the stomach. Young-Si shouted, recognizing what was Gong Hyuk, confirmed with a look. Seriously, yes. Is the big one invocation of the Tower of Babel throughout the city. Other hunters were dragged for the same destination, involved by the spell. The voice of the archangel echoed in his mind, the 7th invocation, the chosen one, the only ones with potential to face the demon king. But the truth was cruel. Until now, the number of survivors was 0. A man shouted in despair when being sucked by the spell, because I want to go the power of the tower. No, gave choice. The wings of the archangel hovered about the scene, observing of the high Tetron. Sirius confirmed all the hunters with potential to defeat the demon king have already been summoned, right? This is ours? Last hope. The voice of the archangel echoed with a mixture of determination and weight on the other side. A figure with long hair, reddish, tilted the head in respect. Don't worry, my lady Azazel. I will transform these humans in arms. Definitive. The archangel closed his eyes and nodded. I'm counting with you. But while the lights of the invocation illuminated the hall, a feeling strange took care of her. What is that? A sensation of déjà vu down there in the eye of the hurricane magical gongs. As you reflected the flames red of the invocation, and at that moment frowned, thinking, this time I will save the world. The determination burned in your gaze. No, the cost matters. A light movement. It broke the silence, the eyelids by Yong, if they trembled, as if she was fighting with himself, body to wake up. A sigh. Weak escaped from the lips before listening. The voice of Gong Hyuk is already awake, still a little dizzy. She raised slowly and asked where they were. Not. It was just them. Dozens of people had been transported together. The answer from it came dry. We are inside Babel. Those were the chosen ones, awakened, summoned by itself. Tower. Some seemed ready for the challenge, but others cried, begging to return. Go home, young man. If took a look around and didn't like it of what he saw. The weather, it was heavy there, almost suffocating after. Of some seconds, she said that was thinking doesn't have have few people, the big one in vocation. Not should join hundreds of thousands, there is no here, not even 500 Gong Hyuk people, calmly as always said that probably had been spread in other sectors. She frowned the forehead without understanding. Very good, he completed. Babel is divided in sectors per floor. How much higher you go up, fewer people have. She smiled, kind of boring. Changing of subject, asked the what should do. From there, Gong Yue replied that probably there would be an explanation shortly, and looking forward, seriously released, is about to start. Yong, if not, he responded immediately, still trying process everything that was happening. It was then what a bang echoed by the place doing. All turn around scared. The cloud of smoke that was formed arose a figure imposing, smiling with horns pointy, and an AR charismatic. The being opened the arms and declared with a firm voice, "Be welcome, the Tower of Babel." The smile, captivating, contrasted with the feeling of threat that hovered in the air. "I am the cruelest, the servant loyal to the king tyrant." The surprise and the confusion spread, and quickly between the summoned something that Crust seemed to notice, and until you find fun floating above of the crowd, he continued, "For all of you insects who know nothing about this place, I will explain the rules of the first to walk from the Tower of Babel. With a snap of various fingers, screens of system materialized before each, projecting a rank of points, and it started to reveal the first rule. Every human, it will be classified according to your performance on the hunt. After 3 weeks of the 200 people here, any human that does not stay between the 51st in the ranking will be killed. For me, the eyes of Crust shone with a mix of desire and pure will to impose your presence. Even so, not all of them there. They swallowed silent your words. One of the hunters took a step ahead, pointed the finger and shouted indignant, "No move with us who will kill who. Here has a lot of hunters cruel. If you want deign to discuss with a simple human," to instead decided to do a demonstration fast and cruel of power, raised his hand that started pulsating with a shine deep purple of energy, as if on earth if they accumulated in the palm in a simple snap it's all over. The man was obliterated even before to finish your sentence, reduced to something empty, lifeless. The shock spread as a fire screams echoed of all the sides, while some retreated instinctively. The AR, it got heavy, suffocating, but not even that. Did Gong Yue lower your gaze? He kept the expression serious. "Look," loaded, staring back without hesitation. "I knew very well who was in front of you, the strongest. Of the 4 kings, celestial second in command of the army of the tyrant king. It had been a while since the last time that had, if seen, Cruesta noticed, and with a smile that mixed provocation and satisfaction, reciprocated the look. The man's body fell apart in small purple coins that fell tinkling on the floor. A hunter, curious, took one of them and frowned. "I believe this, it's a coin next to a woman." Approached surprise, wanting confirm if it was true. The movement he called attention of all, and Cruel took advantage to announce the second rule. His voice echoed. "As a decree, when a human dies, in the first floor of the Tower of Babel, he drops 20% of coins. Who acquired until that moment the news was, how to play meat in the middle of wolves hungry." Suddenly several people gathered around the body, disputing the coins. Like a vulture on carrion, the young man that had caught the first coin tried to catch more, but was interrupted when a foot is signed with force on your hand. He looked up and saw a man bald with a scar, huge in the face, holding a dagger. 20%. "Huh? You have coins?" No has greed in the look. He spoke more about him high than any mission Crueste. Attending the scene seemed satisfied with the course of things. Still like this, asked for attention of all to announce the third rule. During the 2 first weeks, it is forbidden to kill other humans within the area. From the village, the boy released a sigh of relief, but the bald guy just narrowed the eyes, and it snapped. The language frustrated. Cruesta's voice came back strong. "If not want to be killed by yours, comrades, it's better to stay stronger in these 2 weeks." The crowd does not give a lot importance, continued pushing each other and fighting by the coins falls, as if the value of life already had dissolved. Only Crust smiled, satisfied upon realizing that the themselves humans seemed happier with death of their companions than with the chance to survive. Suddenly, Crust face they left what a shine intense purple began to involve their hands. A smile satisfied opened in your face while he said, "I will do a favor special for all of you." Your look turned straight for Gong Hyuk. "I will tear it apart, that one that has more coins." Yong understood on time who would be the target and despaired. "Don't stop, do this." But cruelest, it just snapped the fingers, releasing a beam of energy dark that was direct for our protagonist Gong. Hyuk moved, staring the scene with confidence. But first that could react, a bang coming from heaven intercepted the attack, getting up a dense dust cloud and debris. Yong ran until "Are you okay?" Gong Hyuk kept the fixed eyes up, analyzing what the hell that was it. She too looked to the high. Seeing the smoke dissipate from there came an angel imposing, who declared with a powerful voice, "Rule number 4. Demons and angels can hurt humans, nor force them to act. Do your work right away." The being of darkness looked away, visibly upset, almost spitting of anger, scratched his head and grumbled, "Well, when things were getting interesting, I was going to do an advertisement without permission." He came back to face the crowd, eyes shining with a charm threatening and a smile sharp. "Good, this closes the explanations." Tedious then, side by side, the two angels and demon announced the last rule. Both would give to humans achievements and missions different, and each one could choose on which side stay. But there was a reminder, if they wanted to live, would have to fight with all the forces, as stronger become more. This dimension would awaken, and more power they would win with a snap of fingers. The West, it disappeared, leaving only a sentence in the AR, "Give yours maximum." The people were still scared when Azazel invoked a light about you, drawing attention. The hunter, loading the body lifeless from a friend, approached with the voice embargoed. "Please, you can bring ours companions back to life." The answer, it was Clara. No one could, but the simple fact of she being there. He made several get closer, bombing with questions on the distribution of monsters' location from the dungeons, how to get it food and water drinkable. The voices overlapped, and Azazel asked for calm, trying answer one at a time. About that Gong Hyuk, no, was between. They very much on the contrary, was already moving away, turning your back to the confusion. "Yong, if we go." She ran even. He confused. "You don't want none information," he replied with the same calm as always. "You heard the rules. Sooner not heard everything that we can get. Hers are missions of any form." Without looking back, continued walking, and she just followed him in silence. They advanced for the first floor of the Tower of Babel until they find a garrison of the goblins of the tribe of the Star Red. It was enough be spotted so that the little ones, green beings of ears pointy, began screaming invaders. All in their positions is a human. The rush it started, but it was too late, too much. One of the creatures already lay on the floor, eliminated in a single coup. Proof why Gong Hyuk was not there to play with the bat baseball supported on the back. He walked with confidence, bragging of the sure aim. A smile insane appeared on the face, as if nothing mattered more. "Hey, you there, you can just die in silence for me. I want to accumulate quick points," the goblins growled, arming for counterattack, and a scream echoed. Kill he Gong Hyuk kept the high guard, finding the fools for believing that could face it. With a smile, Predator began to crush for one, throwing bodies away with the weight of the taco. Then an arrow cut the AR, almost reaching him. He dodged skillfully just to be forced, jumping back when one second arrow he came in the sequence. Then there is an archer of beast. What a pain, grumbled, staring the shooter. The archer, surprised, wondered was in front of a monster. Then no human. It should have reflexes of those before that could react. Yong emerged and got it. Right, a blow accurate in his head with a frying pan, pulling out a roar of pain. I already took care of it. Of things shouted over here, raising the weapon. Improvised Gong Hyuk relaxed a little and returned to concentrate in the enemies ahead. Little time, then all the goblins were dead. He looked for the taco now, all crumpled and without any durability, installed the language and threw it to the side, analyzing the damage for a worm. "You tried a trick, cheeky. It was better to have beaten the boots soon." And an IUS observed by a few seconds, intrigued, and then commented, "It's a little late to say that, but bro, you are strong." He doesn't demonstrated reaction, closing the countenance and only ordering, "Come on, hurry up." pick up the items fast while check the status, heard the partner to ask the reason of the rush. He explained bluntly, they exist 7 dungeons in the first floor of the Tower of Babel. 3 are main great temple from Tot dungeon from the sewer, and labyrinth from the gate from hell. But, especially the dungeon from the sewer, has a room secret, the Cradle of Pezeron. This place. It's important we have to get there before of others at the moment in which he returned the look to Yongxi. It found something unexpected, a look cheeky, and the tip of a beast pointed for him without hesitation. She pressed the weapon against your back, doubting whose he it really was, and of the that had been done with the companion, her gong. Rick just stared at her with a look intense and loaded with something she could decipher since the dungeon of the Minotaur. He has something that does not makes me young, remained the firm look, but the voice carried my distrust. Brother always was a coward, but still was kind and kind. She remembered of expressions that he was doing now, cold, almost cruel, as if I already knew of everything before this happened, just reinforced your certainty. You don't, it's my brother who, it's you after all. The silence took over. Gong Hyuk kept hands raised. Without rushing to answer, after a few seconds it broke the tension. Do you remember from the orphanage, always, that we took group photo? You insisted to stay by my side, irritated the teachers. Remember, because of this, I went very intimidated by Zano, that kid who was jealous. Yong frowned. You unbelieving don't come with this. If it were true, you don't would have changed so much. So he looked away and released more serious. I saw the future 20 years ahead, that in the dungeon of the Minotaur probably was caused by the observer, a future where I went summoned to Babel and worn over time. I lived this, even though in a way indirect. My change of personality probably came from there, and Yongxi widened the eyes, surprised with the skill. The first scene, what I saw was you being killed by the Minotaur, he said, staring directly, and the real reason that I have seen the future was to protect you at any cost. The words shook your convictions, bringing until a heat strange to the chest. Then he struck the blow end. I promised that would always protect you. Not I promised. The hesitation took care of her. On an impulse, dropped the gun and threw himself against him, involving it in a hug. Tight. I'm sorry for doubting you, murmured with the voice embargoed, while she surrendered that moment. Gong Hyuk passed the hand by the hair, hers, and thought with yourself, her intuition, it's too sharp. I will have to invent another excuse next time. Regression 2 days passed, and now we were inside from the dungeon, from the sewer. The smell, it was horrible, and the sound of winches echoed for all the sides. Various creatures with appearance of armed rats, with knives sharp, advanced to attack us. It was useless. Before that they could get close, a rain of arrows fell on them, knocking down several at once. How disgusting, complained Yongxi, making a face when seeing one of the rats agonizing on the floor on the other side. Gong Hyuk finished another creature with one blow, dry and precise. When it ended, commented, must be this way somewhere. Right after he invoked your avatar and activated the skill eye of mind. One eye opened on your forehead, shining intensely, and like a lightning bolt pointed to one direction specific. Oh, then it was here, he said, stopping in front of an immense Gong Gai statue. Inserted some coins. The system appeared before him to use 3 marine coins to open the crib. Yes or not. Without hesitation, he clicked in yes. The sound of stone breaking up echoed when the statue opened in half, revealing the passage they crossed and entered in an oval office, enlightened for a shine soft in the center. There was a sign of stone that emitted a golden light. Yong opened up a smile, almost surprised. Maybe it is because I am with you, but these things no longer impress me more. Gong Shi sighed and placed the hand on the plate. This here, perhaps, surprise you a little. The stone shone intensely, and the system announced user Chu Guan Yao level. An authority-confirmed store open. Suddenly holograms arose around, displaying several avatar options. Equipment and rare books among them. Avatar SMS Zephyr for 5 coins. Green. Avatar Thor SS for 3 coins. Yellow Book of Skill, S so Book of the Seven Heroes from the Continent, Pezeron for a coin yellow, and to the Noble Ghost, SS Morglay, by 20 coins. Blue Xiongxi looked impressed, but the what is all this? With a tone trusting he replied, the Cradle of Pezeron, a secret room that transforms hunters in heroes, though just be accessible to who has a lot money in front of them. There was a machine of exchange that displayed a panel very eye-catching 1,500 purple coins for 6 coins, Navy's the Hank. It started to analyze the offer, making the exchanges necessary calmly, while Yongxi next door, it seemed completely glazed on. Something on the screen in front of you appeared, the recommendation of an avatar, and Heijo level C, more for just 5 coins. Navy's your eyes shone, and without thinking twice, she asked if I buy, that means that I will have 2 avatars. He stated at the same time, no, for now only has a space for avatar, with a gesture quickly showed the interface for her, where both had just 1 slot. First has to increase the spaces available. ELA looked at him halfway curious. I wanted to know how exactly could do this. Gong Hyuk realizing her interest in avatar, it was direct no buy. This what do you have now? It's much better than this trash Yongxi. He made a face disappointed. As a child who had the candy taken from the hand at the moment following, Gongxi shouted, I found it excited right in front. His was a stone of evolution level and costing just 10 coins. Navies without thinking twice he bought, declaring with a smile, confident hour to evolve my avatar like this. A new stage for the observer was unlocked. The avatar has begun floating, rising. See you next time to the ceiling, while an aura intense blue emanated of your body, and 1 more eye opened in the center. The new ability received was far seer, that one that sees far in the distance. In the interface, several other skills appeared side beside the bugger panopticon, but to which really called attention of Gong Yi was marked with a period of interrogation game. Master murmured, recognizing the name Como. If you met again an old friend, your partner of centuries, the system it started to process. The evolution tracing the route until the form end. When it ended, the authority of expansion there was been granted. The avatar now wore a hat with a great red eye in the center and a new name. It shone on GM screen inside the floor. Deeper from the dungeon, from the sewer, he was the final boss, King Latos. A creature imposing with appearance of humanoid sitting mouse on his throne. He wore an eye patch and flaunted long claws, and sharp, behind him, a shadow, translucent, seemed to smile with satisfaction, as if I were celebrating the arrival of a challenging. As soon as the door creaked, when opening the brass eyes, narrowed, 2 hunters entered in the hall. Our protagonist held a huge hammer, while Yongxi pointed your beast ready to fire. The shadow looked for them, and in an almost tone disappointed released, just, you two didn't have time for nothing else. The hammer of Gong Hyuk went down with violence, getting it right, the head of the shadow even before her. To react with a smile of pure challenge, he provoked, not stay there traveling. Let's go, attack me now, damn rat. Tuzo stared with a fury almost palpable, growling loudly while pushed the weapon away in its clutches, a small ball. Purple energy started to pulse, growing, like a poison ready to be released. Gong Hyuk, no, retreated on the contrary, advanced and got it right. Another blow, the impact echoing through the walls. Like thunder. Really think that can defeat me, said confidently. Latus replied with a roar, and got it a whip of iron that started to spin and snap between the ground and the ceiling, doing the AIR vibrates. He really knew blocking this, it will hurt on the other side. Gong Hyuk clenched his fist on the cable of the hammer, forcing yourself to keep the total focus. The whip meandered like a snake trying to reach of all the angles, but he dodged accurately, surgical, diverting by centimeters, advanced, no timing, perfect, finding a gap to get it right. Another blow, accurate, the shadow translucent. Observed of arms crusaders, the fixed eyes in it hum. Good dodges. Movements murmured, but soon completed in a cold tone and loaded of contempt. But that's not it. It's not even close enough for me. Face suddenly, Latos pulled the belt, a species of bomb decorated with a skull in front. Without hesitation, he launched it on the floor, releasing a dense smoke that spread quickly all over the hall. The AR, it got heavy, and the smell suffocating, that it was pure poison. Yong-se instinctively covered his face. To avoid, breathe the gas. but the smoke got in the way. Your vision, Gong Hyuk too, began to feel the effect, the vision clouding, but kept the focus, knowing that the enemy could attack at any instant, and it didn't take long. A snap cut, the AR and the whip from the sides came with full force, getting it right in full. The protagonist, the impact, it was brutal, spreading blood in the same instant, but the worst, it was the poison, impregnated in the coup that it started to spread by his body, draining your HP, little by little, and reducing your agility in almost 30%. Latos, I was sure of, which that would be the end. Gong Hyuk, however, thought different, holding the chest bloody. He growled, a mere mouse, feeling so much so. Turning around for your partner, he ordered Yongxi. Now, besides having skills of healing, she too dominated techniques to deal with poison in an instant. Invoked your avatar priestess that arose like a shadow protective behind her. The hands of the priestess rose up and petals, luminous, began to fall, releasing a fragrance, soft, the flowers of detoxification. They got arrested on the shoulder by Gong Yi, neutralizing the poison in seconds. Feeling the body react, he supported the hammer on the shoulder and launched a fierce look for laterals. Now come, provoke the shadow, translucent, raised the eyebrows, surprised with the recovery. Quick, Yongxi, I already had your beast pointed to the target, but at the moment in which sides turned to face LA, Gong Hyuk took advantage the opening, advanced quickly, and struck a kick accurate, doing the boss retreat and fall back to back without giving space. The protagonist stepped on the face of the enemy, looking to the side. Is fine, trusting, said with contempt, raised the hammer, the most high as it can, and shouted, no underestimate me. The coup fell hard, total activating your skill, single blow, crushing the opponent with an impact who made the ground shiver. The screens of the system arose ahead, displaying notifications of victory. The shadow, a translucent, still watching, commented, think, who managed even just you two long time ago, that I don't see something so interesting, but at this level you are not going be able to clean. Babel. Gong Hyuk ignored Tom of provocation, and without waste time invoked again, your avatar activating the skill mind's eye. A red ray crossed the hall, marking the exact location where the real One Chief, the king of the great Chamundi sewers, was hidden. The shadow widened the eyes. Surprise, no, tell me that you can see my voice trembled, and he swallowed dry. Approximately 400 years ago, Pedzeron was a world pacific, no wars, no chaos, until suddenly dungeons started to emerge out of nowhere. With them came the invasion of monsters, and how consequence the birth of the hunters among them. The king Latos and others, 6 heroes, legendary, decided climb Babel to protect your world, but the tower was too strong, and most was massacred in the end. Pedzeron couldn't resist, and ended up being completely absorbed by Babel. The shadow, translucent he was of arms, crossed before of the 2 hunters, narrating the whole this story, as if it were a scar, what never closed. Yonce, confused, couldn't to hold the question absorbed. Like this, the spirit explained calmly that King Latos, that they had finished to defeat, was not the real one, was just a creation, based in your own image. And the worst, the people of Pedzeron, like this, like him, was transformed in matter, cousin to create monsters with regret. Visible in the voice revealed, our world was torn apart and subjugated by Babel, converted in dungeons. Even after, of 400 years, Babel, no, I had stopped, continued invading dimensions and worlds, absorbing everything that I found, and growing more and more. Yong pays attention, began to understand the weight of that. If they lost the earth, she too would be swallowed by Babel. Exactly how it happened with Pedzeron already. Gong Hyuk, this was yawning, clearly bored with the long explanation, no patience to hear more. He approached and clapped his hands and said, okay, it's okay, I get it. Enough is enough of this litany. The protagonist extended the hands ahead, and in an instant appeared there a white coin. He was over to get close of a DOS Secrets of Babel, and as a reward it won that coin, rare, together with the title, the first to know the dungeon secret. Yongxi frowned, without understanding nothing, and asked, so that he didn't serve. He responded immediately instead, invoked your avatar, already evolved, and turning the currency between the fingers, commented with a slight smile, this here, it serves to open more a space from avatar GM. Took the coin, activated the skill of expansion of authority, and then unlocked a new slot. Yongxi excitedly smiled and said with energy, then let's go. We don't have nothing else to do here before left. Shaman Day called them with a serious tone, revealed that in 400 years peers. They were the first to see him personally. Then he leaned, if slightly offering one's own strength case, wanted to fight until the end against Babel. He was not anyone, was a king of the great sewers classification. A plus young, if it stayed, jaw dropped and turned to the protagonist, almost jumping of excitement. Do you have any idea? We can take an avatar, the most free. This is amazing. But he swims, impressed, waved with the hand, and answered bluntly, I don't dispense. We need from avatar low level. The expression it withered right on time that he was so still I wanted to accept Shamon. I don't say either, reacted very frustrated and offended. He shouted insolently, I reached the fifth age send from Babel, the protagonist, however just turned around leaving in farewell and lifting the middle finger. Chamundi stayed there cursing non-stop while they were leaving. 4 days had if passed since the 7th big convocation of Babel. The movement in the first walk in the area of the village was intense. A huge group surrounded the angel, responsible for them all wanting answers or advantages between the crowd. Yong was almost there, unnoticed on a cover black, and the hood covering the face with steps firm. She approached of Azazel and said with a look, decided, excuse me, I want register in the ranking. The angel only asked the name, but she a little embarrassed. He requested that it was done anonymously. Azazel found it funny of the mystery, but accepted right away. Confirmed, record completed in the system. A painting ranking arose. The first place he had 1,830 points. Name Jackson. Already the second appeared covered by points of interrogation with 1,770 points. Second place, Yong stayed open mouth. Automatically a blessing of the ranked was granted, more 5% in all the attributes, plus 10% of resistance to effects of status, and 10% more bonus recovery all around. Were shocked with someone arising from suddenly so high in the ranking. Some started approaching, asking if it was her to such person. Mysterious, claiming never have seen her in. Non-squadron attack soon were surrounding, and IC insisting so that he could take it out the hood, and revealed the face. She was getting dizzy with so much pressure. Not like that. It didn't do any good to have I registered anonymously. Like my brother, he requested what I do from the top. The protagonist observed the scene. See Yong. If surrounded and pressed, he was starting to irritate him. He put the hand on the forehead, took a deep breath, and without more patience, he called by your avatar GM. Escondido among bushes, spoke in Tom firmly, connect to the first Babel walk register. My score in the GM ranking reached out, and how a web of energy spreading informed update of information in the ranking, completed in the sky. Everyone received suddenly a message alert. Soon then the voice of the system echoed alert information of the ranking updated by a route abnormal. The people they looked at each other without understanding nothing, while numbers were rising like crazy on the screen, as if someone of a rank low had started to climb non-stop. In a few seconds, the first place was taken by a name, Mysterious X, 1,210 points. At the time, everyone that were focused on Yong turned around for the panel. Mouth open this. It is possible even joining of the 2nd to 10th place. Not enough in that the name is X. Who is this? Enjoying the distraction. Yong Shi left there, the heart fired and the face sweating cold. One of the hunters went to Zazel and asked suspicious. This score, no. Is it some error? The angel answered, don't worry, there is a problem with the score seems who adulterated the root of record. But what really it is unusual is the person who managed this hidden between the shrubs. The protagonist opened a smile, satisfied, attending the confusion about that. Yong followed down the whole side of the village, trying to mix with the crowd on the way, saw a man fallen on the ground, injured and breathing with difficulty. She approached fast. He knelt down next to him and asked what happened with you, the man with the little strength that had murmured, no worry with me. It's already late, too much for me. Yong bit himself. The lip decided not to accept that, then raised his hand, starting to conjure avatar priestess. But in the same instant, the voice of the protagonist echoed in her mind. Do not invoke your avatar where the people can see before that could react. A voice, male, sounded good behind. Hey, young lady didn't hear what he said. A bald man with a scar, huge, over the eye, grabbed her behind with force. He repeated, almost growling, the same words that the man fallen had said. He said to leave you in peace. Yong-shi bowed, slightly relieved for having found somebody. There he pointed for man fallen, and without imagining what was to come, asked, you could please take care of this person? I'm kind of in a hurry. The bald man arched the eyebrow, pointing for yourself, as if not believed in that I had heard, then laughed in a way mocking and answered, yes, I will take care very good of him without waste time. Struck a brutal kick on the face of the fallen man, making blood drain. Small audience around began whispering, it's Igor, that scoundrel. I heard say that it fell for 6th place, not in the ranking. It is worth it, get involved with. He lets go out from here. Yong-se continued looking fixedly without blinking. Following the scene without taking his eyes, Igor increased the pressure, stepping with still more strength in the head of man and pushing against the ground. You don't, he understands. This guy is already practically dead. A cruel smile appeared on the face. You don't, he was in a hurry. Then disappear from here. I will take advantage. Well, the coins, his Yong-shi, although didn't move your look. It was cold, determined, and something in your expression indicated that no, I was going to leave that pass. Suddenly, a force invisible knocked him down, doing the fall on your face on the floor. Psychokinesis. Igor growling. He shouted in anger, what do you think what is doing? Yong-se bent down near the injured and handed it to him, a cupcake of rice that emanated a soft glow. Take this. Igor tried move the body, but it was more heavy. What a lead, grumbled and cursed non-stop, and Hong then got up looking firm for him. It's useless. Resisting is a skill rank D that I got not long ago. Why not try to live in a way more decent, ranking high? It's nothing special. The bald man creaked the teeth and screamed, demanding know the name. Her Yong-shi just turned his back and it started to move away. You wretch. Wait, I will hunt you down and kill. He shouted, emotionless about that. The man-haired greens held the cupcake carefully. Perhaps world no was so bad like this in the field hunting. Still in the first tower floor was the hiding place by Igor. He came in kicking the door and screaming, prepare. If Jacob lets hunt that woman, I'll put her in her place. The interior was full of swords, spears and trinkets, but no, there was a signal of no one yet. Snorting, Igor grumbled about the damned user of telekinesis and asked loudly if Jacob knew some woman oriental. He went to the door internal and, already irritated, shouted to the friend, reply soon. When it opened, it gave face to face with the stretched out Jacob on the ground, dead. The teeth closed and hatred boiled, attacked each other. This place, then the target. It's me, damn it, who did this? A little away from there, our protagonist watched everything through of a hologram, the expression of despair by Igor. It was like music. For him, a smile, sadist, opened up slowly in your face, savoring each second of that scene. Igor analyzed every detail of the brutal scene in front of you, shoulder, stomach and leg of Jacob. They were destroyed, and he doesn't manage to contain the drug anger. How many weapons this guy has. After all, itching, the bald head started to distrust that does not was work of only a person. But before that could think more, several voices coming from outside. They called your attention. A group approached of the place. Not tell me that we are lost, grumbled a man loading a hammer. Huge. The answer came in a tone carefree. Who cares if have monsters, we kill and take the coins. The group stopped when noticing a house strange. No, it's the hiding place of that ranked, I think that his name. It was Igor. When listening, your name is Igor. Narrowed the eyes and was attentive. One of the members warned to have be careful and don't provoke the owner from that place to avoid problems, but the recommendation, it was no use. In an instant, Igor, it appeared behind of the woman of the group, pressing a dagger against your neck with the nerves on the surface of the skin. It didn't even happen to work. To ask nothing, just assumed that they were the guilty ones, given that carried hammer, sword, axe and spear. Then it was you wretches had courage to attack my hiding place like this, and without thinking twice, cut the neck of the young ELA. Didn't even have a chance to react. Only took the hand to the wound, suffocating before of falling lifeless on the floor. The group entered in shock, yelling your name without believing in what had ended to happen. This guy, it lost completely the head. S.E. One of the men raising the hammer and swearing revenge on the other side. Our protagonist watched everything by a hologram, while Igor Barava, you worms. Low level, no idea of who are they. With stirring Gong Hyuk, with the expression bored, supported the hand in the head and commented with you, even one day, he yet will get it, the Avatar Ripper, and become the biggest threat, but it continues being an idiot next to him. All the weapons used were thrown, still stained of blood. We are just on the 4th day since Babel. It started the difference of power among hunters. It's not yet so. Really big that he is in 6th place. It does not have how to win 4 at once. Calm. He lit a cigarette, curious to see how the fight would end. The 4 hunters advanced against Igor and Gong. Hyuk wondered, like the rest of the hunters would react, if the news of what a ranked was defeated by people low level. If it spread a few days past, until we ended up in Great Temple from Tot Young, if he walked through the corridors from the dungeon, breaking the silence with a comment, casual, remember of that ranked wretch that I mentioned. Then he died. Seems that a hunter underneath level is over in it. Our protagonist. I listened to her, as if I didn't even know, keeping nothing, the expression neutral, but she continued, this just proves that it needs leader life. Honest. Gong. Rick turned to face LA, arching the eyebrow that was an indirect for me, or that the girl just laughed a little, no way to any form. Because of this, the hunters low level are acting more intensely than normal. The memory, it was inevitable. Right at the beginning of the call, the devil had said that all below of the rank 50 would die as consequence. These hunters decided, unite and hunt ranked. Upon hearing this, Gong Yi sketched a smile, leaving Young if suspicious. Don't tell me you already knew that. It was going to happen, that's why. Who sent me register anonymously? The conversation was cut when they arrived to the destination ahead. An imposing door guarded the room of the boss of the Gong Temple. Yue turned around for her and warned, as I said before, not I go power to give you coverage in this fight. You will have to turn around alone. Yon-si just nodded, determined. Everything. Well, I can. Our protagonist took the spear of the ritual with the blade poisoned and pushed the door firmly on. The other side, he was the guardian of the temple, a creature with appearance of Anubis god, received with voice, serious intruder, how dare you to desecrate the great Raja Ruti Gongjik? No wasted time, activated your skill, throwing a plated knife in poison. The blow hit the guardian in full, doing the human grunt insolent coldly. The enemy removed the weapon from your chest, as if it were nothing. Gong Yue, you knew that was in front of the boss, more resistant of the first Babel walk, and would need of everything that had to beat him. Raising your hand, the protagonist made thorns poisonous emerge on the floor, forming traps fatal. The guardian roared, jumping towards you, miserable. I'm going to pull it out your life. But Gong Hyuk remained calm, pulling from your inventory a grenade of gas, tear gas, highly toxic. He launched forward, raising a curtain thick of dust, poisonous. The creature staggered, trying. Keep yourself standing, tricks pathetic. Murmured with contempt. Same weakened the system, announced the withdrawal of the whip of the king's iron-loaded lats with a poison lethal. Gong Hyuk turned the gun by air with skill, and in one fell swoop, fast hit the arm of the guardian, impregnating it with the toxin of Latos. A smile trusting arose in your face. While provoked, I learned this with a mouse. Not very useful. It's what it feels like, the effect of 4 poisons at the same time. It's a little dizzy. Or will it be that I was already dizzy? From the beginning, the guardian released a roar, furious, and left for the attack. But Gong Hyuk deviated with agility, escaping of each blow. As if I were having fun. Shut up, shouted the guardian. Exasperated Gong Hyuk, however, not stopped to mock. Hey puppy, it's time of the tour. Without wasting time, ran away through the corridors of the room, forcing the enemy chasing him. The persecution was exactly what he wanted. Every step of the guardian made the poison circular, faster in your body, weakening little by little. The sound of claws scratching the ground echoed, but Gong Hyuk kept the rhythm until something called your attention. The jackal had changed of direction and now advanced to the rearguard, where Yong-shi was the eyes. Hyuk Gong widened for a second before to accelerate back, intercepting the attack. He threw himself from the front against the guardian, but the coup was blocked with force. Face to face, the enemy stared at him with contempt. Foolish advance and abandon your ally. Gong Hyuk only kept the smile on the face and answered without deviating the look. Everything is fine. I already had warned her before. I just need concentrate in finishing with you. The room of the boss of the great temple of all enlightened era by several torches that designed shadow shadows dancing on the walls, while in the corridors strained the grunts, threatening of several jackals moving forward against Yongxi. She kept your posture steady, shooting arrows accurate with his beast to stop every enemy. That if approached, 2 jackals arose suddenly behind, leaving on alert, but before that Could I reached LA, a blue aura involved them, your skill of telekinesis? The creatures they were thrown one against the other, striking repeatedly until they fall in your mind, echoed the gong warning. Heck, I don't have, as protect you in this battle against the boss can handle alone, Eong. If you knew that your role was essential, attract attention of the jackals and keep the clean field for what Gong Hyuk? If I had a direct duel against the Guardian, ran through the corridors creating routes of escape and diverting of attacks, avoiding be cornered at any cost. If kept the rhythm, believed that he would have the chance, perfect, to defeat the boss about that. In the center, from the Gong Hyuk room, stared the Guardian with a look impassive. The enemy growled, the teeth closed of anger, and then raised the scepter golden, turning it with force. In the same instant, Yongxi realized a change. Strange. The jackals started to change your routes, moving forward in a way coordinate to surround LA. A group faster opened, their mouths full of prey. Sharp achieving shorten the distance and reach LA's surprise, and scared Yongxi let out a scream that echoed around the room, calling immediately attention by Gong Yue. The Guardian, realizing the gap, mocked with contempt. Foolish to abandon your partner to attack, but the protagonist just kept your cold smile, convinced that she could to lead with that, and answered mentally to yourself that this was the distraction perfect for him to focus, to slaughter the Guardian at once. For all that moment was crucial for Yongxi. All the creatures they were around, growling non-stop and closing the siege. Suddenly a screen of the system arose in front of you, bringing a message, who made our protagonist open a smile. There is a request to intervene. You accept without waste time. He confirmed at the moment in which one of the jackals advanced to grab LA. Yongxi closed his eyes, ready for the worst. But no. It took a long time until opened them, confused by yet be alive before her. The man that I had seen fallen in the square, he appeared to save LA. The impact of your jump and the blow was so intense, what debris spread put all sides. Yongxi, still on your knees, coughed, trying recover of the scare when he looked for him, noticed his appearance muscular and asked who was. Then he introduced himself. My name is Soma Sangai. Thanks for the cupcake of rice, and buy the flowers. He extended the hand to help LA to get up, and in that instant she remembered. Are you the one who fainted in the village before? They haven't yet were safe. Another creature arose through the shadows and advanced against they doing. Yong, if you scream so that you may sing, be careful without hesitation. He invoked your avatar, Neo Guardian, an aura golden and broke of your body when the skill indestructibility of Vajra was activated. Jackal nailed the teeth on your shoulders, but Sangai remained firm and unharmed. Yongxi, scared, asked if he was well, but no got a response right away. Sangai invoked another avatar, Ilpaticus, releasing the skill revolution that struck in all area. The enemies within reach rest in peace. Besides, the other margin declared without losing the concentration. One last jackal came up behind, ready to bite, but was interrupted by an arrow. It needs young Shy, smiling, called for him, relieved for having achieved help yourself mutually. Moments before, Gong Hyuk observed the movements of both with a look, calculating. Soma Sangai, you helped us again, this time with them safely. Your attention could. Now if you come back fully to the Guardian, the enemy advanced with a cut fast in the air, but Gong Hyuk jumped back, diverting with precision. Phew, those dogs were really intimidating. The Guardian, intrigued, narrowed the eyes. Is predicting my attacks? Gong Hyuk, he responded with a slight smile. Yes, I am naturally good in movements fast. The silence of the Guardian just confirmed attention. No attack yours was right, while the poison was already spreading by your body. At this pace I will be defeated. Then he thought, roaring with hatred, stated that the joke was over, and that I would hunt the damn human, bent down about the 4 paws, and invested with speed. Fierce Gong Yue steady, wielded the scimitar giant of tiger, and declared, no be mistaken, the prey here, and you the Guardian. It started the Gong circular Yue, analyzing carefully. I don't know how you are doing that, but are you understanding? Quickly, the standards. From my attacks, however, your speed of reaction and explosion no seem to be so big like that. In that case, before that could finish the sentence, jumped forward in a speed absurd, reaching Gong's shoulder. Yik, with force without believing in what had ended to happen, R's protagonist held the injury, turning around to face it, but no, had time to react. Another attack, he came immediately, the Guardian. He was faster than before. Your movements were almost invisible. I just need attack so fast than to understand the standard become useless, he said, spinning around of the opponent, as a predator joking. With the prey, Gong Hyuk felt the pain spread your body, reacting with tension. With each blow received, was at that time that Sangai realized something wrong and called by Yongxi. We shouldn't help in the fight against the boss. Also asked, worried with the state of the protagonist, Yongxi, still slaughtering a jackal, thought for a moment before to answer me. Asked to deal with the jackals. They will continue emerging non-stop while the Guardian is alive. If we enter, now we will have to face no only the Guardian, but also the jackals. That's why we need continue fighting against. They even my brother defeat the boss. Both fought back to each other, preventing that the beasts surrounded any one of the two. Sangai understood her logic, but still tried argue, insinuating that at that pace, Gong Hyuk could fail. It was then that Yong spoke firmly. Trust in it for sure. We'll defeat him on the other side of the room. The battle was at its peak. Gong Hyuk received investments almost imperceptible. Your eyes are bad following the trajectory of the enemy, the Guardian confidently roared. What a triviality that it is, the human end. Insolent. Another attack fast was delivered, but this time Gong Hyuk raised a shield at the moment, right absorbing the impact. A smile opened in your face. As expected, the final blow comes from the front. He then equipped a new weapon, the rapier of iron, holding the accurately and truth that I can't to accompany your movements, but this speed neither do you can avoid, declared. Ready against sword attack was pointed out forward, and the Guardian, without being able to more control your own speed, advanced straight ahead against the blade being drilled. Gong Hyuk smiled, satisfied with the onslaught perfectly planned on the ground. Zero Guardian suffocated with himself, moaning blood in agony. To close once and for all the fight, Gong Hyuk raised your sword firmly and declared you will be a good food, then activated your skill. Single cut and accurately surgical left the opponent in. Half like this, the boss from the dungeon, the fearsome Guardian of the temple, was defeated. Sangai observed, both in front of you, remembering the words by Yongxi about how skills and trust incredible manage defeat. The boss alone boring. Yongxi ran to present that ally unlikely, but the protagonist I already knew who was Soma Sangai. It didn't take long, so that she asked, curious by the way, if it is so strong, why was passed out that time? Boning the Sangai head replied that it was a long history, but summarized saying that there was been deceived by Mr. Igor Node hunting ground. Yong found himself too much kindness, call him of sir, that started a good laugh from Sangai. Well, there's no point to speak evil of the dead. The protagonist observed the interaction between the two, reflecting itself. Yongxi, with their multiple skills of cancellation and unique support, was the best healer of humanity. Then Sangai, with your resistance, almost superhuman patience and charisma. Exceptional would be the tank, stronger of all in regressions past him had endured. To the limit of death to contain the protagonist when this was outside of control. Gong Hyuk sighed deeply and thanked for the help, extending the hand. Do you want to come with me? Sangai joined hands in sign of respect and answered this invitation. It is the greatest honor for me, half awkward. The Gong Hyuk tried to pull the hand of Volta, thinking that the other exaggerated turning. It was decided that was time to focus in. The reward invoked your GM avatar and asked to activate the skill mind's eye. Them had captured the god of the oath and time, Rajefta SS level. So much Sangai, how much Yongxi stayed, mouths open. But the protagonist, I just thought that's why that I was so far away to challenge the dungeon of difficulty maximum. The creature with long black wings arose over a pillar and staring asked them, oh, you found me, who exactly you are. Ours protagonist put his hand on the chest and stated with conviction, I will take the king's head, demon, lend me yours. Force that be imposing, murmured Gomu if it reflected for a moment, but refused with the same conviction what Gong Hyuk demonstrated. I refuse. You killed Guardian's innocence, not. I intend to serve someone so arrogant as you. Gong Hyuk smiled at. of the answer still maintains this pride. After having been absorbed by Babel Raj, Epta considered the speech extremely insolent and coldly. He responded, "The incident of Babel was beyond from my control. The cycle of the world. It's a destination that nobody can challenge. Furthermore, meditate. Here it's not so bad, fools. How do you not would understand?" Gong Hyuk kept the firm look and in high tone retorted, "You try to maintain appearances, but in the end, this does not pass of the excuse of a loser. It is not Rajivta." No was willing to hear such provocations and questioned if it was just that's why that the human had come in truth. He wanted just that. They would leave him rest in peace. But this no was the intention of Gong Hyuk. "Oh, what do you think that people that are still in Babel, they would say if they heard now?" The question left God in silence by some seconds away. "Try not to lose your cool." Finally, he replied, "My people." If it was Gong Hyuk did not hesitate. Intrigued for sure of the human, Rajivta waited. Gong Hyuk, Rick, swallowing. Another cigarette explained, "You just think that everyone is dead because your connection with them disappeared, but this break does not pass of a consequence of your loss of divinity. They still are alive in Babel, although they live in pain." The interest woke up in God and asked if that one it really was true. Then through from Avatar G.M. Gong Hyuk decided to show the reality. The G.M. rose to the heavens, activating your skill of expansion of authority, and then designed an image Clara from a place in the 48th Babel. Walk the scenario displayed was apocalyptic. Several pillars burned on fire, throwing sparks and smoke for heavy AR. The vision left the Rajaphyte unbeliever. No, could it be exclaimed, the expression loaded shock, a monster. A colossal remembering a titan has arisen above the walls and buildings. Indignant Rajepta asked, "What a creature is that and why is attacking my people?" Ours protagonist, however, kept be calm and answered, "Continue watching. Soon you will understand." The creature roared loudly, moving forward against the residents, but was intercepted by several people wearing tunics, white with details. Golden, a woman leading the attack, shouted, "Damn, throw more light, sacred Yuvan, opening the mouth immense, you hurt these pests." "Completely filthy," the warrior, she replied furiously. "What that earth belonged a total loyal to Mr. Rajepta, and that no one would allow the presence of the race of grapes there." But the monster mocked, calling the slag one selfish of all, declared that if not would be fine, I would gladly take the force. Your fists, giants, reached the city, knocking down stones that plummeted on the population in panic. The warrior asked everyone that no give in to fear, raising the hand and swearing, "Punish the monster on behalf of Rajepta." The hand of Uven fell on her with violence. "Rajepta, he doesn't exist. Abandoned. Us does not pass of a fake god." Fled, crushing the merciless and displaying a smile. Insane pleasure in destroying was printed in your face. Suddenly a flash, Golden hit him on the face, doing the staggering back down soldiers. They smiled. "Got it right now. It's our chance." They raised their scepters, and they fired beams of light, sacred, striking in sequence. Ulven crossed the arms to protect the face, but the IRA in your eyes was still more perverse. With a raw, powerful ordered kill, each of them. The vision ended, leaving Rajaphyte speechless. Kongrik took advantage the moment, releasing the smoke of your cigarette. How tragic that it's destiny of a people who lost your god, and yet they didn't forget your name must be calling. Put you for centuries about that. The great Rajaphyte I sat of legs, crusades meditating, it wasn't that. Who said Rajaphyte turned the body, grabbing the gong collar. Rick shut up with force, the mouth ordered, approaching with the eyes shining in gold. "Say this again, and I pull out your head." Attention settled down among them. God continued, "This is the first Babel walk. How do you know? What happens in the 48th? No, tell me these images were forged." Smiling, Gong Hyuk questioned. He once even live in denial, so much so, and completed those people their god. "It's you know, with a simple to look if it is false." "Oh, no, is." Rajafi remained in silence. By some seconds, Gong Hyuk threw the cigarette on the floor, crushing it with the foot. "If really want to take advantage your retirement in peace, then don't say nothing else. But still there are people up there waiting for you." He raised his hand, inviting. "If you don't want to simply to stay here selling your creations, suffer, then come with me. I will kill the demon king and release you and your people of Babel." Rajafa shook the head, murmuring, "You are a human, irritating." But finally shook hands of Gong Hyuk, giving in now. "What, I know the truth. I can't simply stay here without doing anything." The system announced the notification the avatar had been acquired. Curious Sangai, let slip a breath heavy, and asked yet without believing who is Gong. In the end, the corridor from underground level 5 at Hellgate Maze was enlightened just by small flames inside. A battle intense was installed among hunters and the creatures of the Tower of Babel. A monster remembering an avatar, covered by armor, Golden raised his hand to unravel a punch devastating against the hunters. Some retreated, fearing for life, when suddenly the skill single cut was activated. Like a flash, our Golden protagonist landed on sight, separating the creature in half. The metallic sound echoed when the body fell to the ground. Gong Hyuk looked around and asked you, "They are fine." The silence was immediate, broken only by sound of breaths. Heavy, a man creaking the teeth. Finally, who said, "It's you, Gong Hyuk?" He responded in a simple way, "Just a hunter," in passing. The cold tone made man frown, interpreting that one as if it were a killer of ranked. Before that, could say more. A woman, haired reds with braids, fangs in a bun, slapped on his back and intervened. "Hey, it's not like that. That is spoken with someone that ended to save your life." She approached of Gong Hyuk and with a sigh of relief thanked, "Phew, a movement wrong and we would have been eliminated. We came here as a group raid to clean this boss. Believe it or not, everyone here are ranked in the top 50. Gong Hyuk, no demonstrated interest in the titles, but it fixed itself in an expression who called his attention matador of ranked. Upon realizing your doubt, the redhead explained, "Seems that a hunting ranked from the top 50 turned a trend, especially now that Demon said, remember, when the deadline to finish everyone out of the ranking will to die. No trust to go up facing monsters. Hunters, low level, are hunting ranked outside the village to win position." This started later, that Igor was knocked down. Gong Hyuk remained in silence by some seconds, supporting against the wall, satisfied for seeing that things were following as there was predicted. The redhead then asked about your companions. When listening that he was alone in the dungeon, your eyes shone. In that case, if not care, want to do team. He squeezed your hand in agreement. "I wouldn't refuse by mechanics of the group, the chief from the dungeon. It would be difficult to face alone." The young woman celebrated the partnership, but the others hunters, they exchanged looks, strangers. Gong Hyuk didn't know if it was anger, distrust, or if they were simply waiting for a possible trap. The place was hot with rivers of running lava for all the sides. The boss from the dungeon, a hellhound, two-headed, growled and advanced, snorting in fury. He opened the jaws and launched a puff of fire against Gong Hyuk, who dodged with tranquility. Holding a scepter, the protagonist counterattacked, activating the fatal blow. Only the attack, powerful, dropped the dog on the floor. "In truth, I am me, specializing in killing your race. Just now, I killed a friend, yours, very much fiercer than you," said Gong Hyuk with a smile, while concentrated energy to activate your skill. Throwing, the gun flew with speed, impressive, reaching the creature. In the same instant, Gong Hyuk mocked, proud of ease in defeating enemies. Like that, and equipped a spear giant of the flames. Your movements were so fast that it was impossible to accompany the dance of the weapon in the field of battle. Who was watching left out, open-mouthed. "Who is this guy?" murmured a hunter, while the other, sweating cold, it started to remember of a name. "He is 0x. The group recognized the nickname of the person that in the last update of the ranking there was conquered more than 10,000 points. Seeing the fight, understood the Gong Hyuk motive probably was cleaning the dungeons alone time. A real hunter approached of the woman-haired redheads and asked what should do, because even for them to fight against that monster would be the limit. She reflected by some seconds and then answered, "No, even if they are 10,000 points or 100,000, he still can prevent an attack surprise beyond of this. If this score for real, he must be loaded of coins. If we kill, he is the prize maximum." Gong Hyuk was over to land, and turning around for the redhead, commented that she spoke too much during the battles. "It's funny," she replied what it was, nothing too much, and questioned most important, when the mechanics active group. He replied calmly, and now in the same instant the woman jumped with with high speed. To him at the same time, Hellhound activated your skill flames of damnation, causing continuous damage divided among all the enemy's gifts. The whole field was taken by screams and moans of pain due to pressure, overwhelming of the attack. Panting and trembling, the woman asked if that it really was a mechanic of Gruppen Gong Hyuk. Without demonstrating suffering, he responded with a smile, calm. Yes, that's why that. I didn't bring my companions. One of the soldiers, kneeling and with the body partially burned, roared with rage, realizing that Gong Hyuk had planned to use them. Like shields from the beginning, the protagonist, but not demonstrated any remorse, argued coldly that the fault was of themselves, because neither at least had equipped resistance to the fire, while he had a resistance absurd of 582% right away. Gong Hyuk looked down and revealed another reason not to have brought your companions. I don't want. Let them see. What am I going to do? The tone of your voice carried a sadistic weight, who made the AR of the place to stay denser. Without hesitation, he made a cut clean in the fallen ally, pulling out a scream of horror of the woman-haired redheads, who he despaired when seeing your companion be eliminated. Hey, what you are doing? She exclaimed in shock, but when turning around to look at around, witnessed a massacre. The axe of Gong Yue revolved in movements lethal, and every blow painted in red. The scenario infernal while harvesting lives, he replied. Coldly, I'm doing the same that you were going to do with me. Remember what had happened that time? The astonished redhead retreated a few steps without understanding. Then you are talking Gong Yue. However, continued with the same conviction. Dark 40, and 4 years back you betrayed me and cut my ear. The woman, more confusing yet, looked at him and retorted, you have both ears. There is no beyond of that. 40 and 4 years behind me, nor was born. He just maintained the right look that she does not could be. Remember, attention exploded when in the same instant the hellhound advanced with the mouth open, soon swallowed it. The woman screamed with all the forces behind of you. In a movement coldly calculated, Gong Yi deviated of the bite of the boss doing, with which the woman was attacked in its place. Oh, her scream was suffocated by death. Instant your body now arrested among the prey. Sharp of that creature, Gong Rick, with a look of pure contempt, ordered to listen the can that doesn't. If you got involved in their fight, guys, with a cut clean and precise, it happened in the middle of the monster, doing both the heads, release a growl of pain. The boss from the dungeon fell, defeated the system. He announced there was conquered the title of Massacre of the Gates of Hell, in addition to inflicting 100% of the damage received, 800 purple coins, and more 2 coins. Gong Hyuk Marina stopped beside of the body of the girl, convinced that that end was just the reflection than she had already done in life. At last called your GM avatar and handed it to him 20 and a coin, unlocking the new ability Satisfied Devour ordered, that devoured the avatar of the hellhound. Two-headed, believing that this skill he would be extremely useful in the future. However, a female voice interrupted your thoughts, congratulating, or when turning around, Gong Hyuk came across with a small, hellish being. Despite of height, its attributes, feminine, were abundant horns, sharp crowned the head, and his canines sharp shone about the light of the flames, was a being of darkness. She walked with steps soft, and it started talking, explaining what was it for the lore of Cruest before you to present. I am the succubus, Lilian Gongjik. The gentleman frowned, closing the teeth while thinking of all the SE moments she saw me devouring an avatar of dungeon would certainly come erase me. Swallowing the irritation, asked directly what she wanted. The sukubo only released a light laugh and provocative, approaching more with a sweet voice and seductive, commented, now you are good, not pretty. I have of to complain of your strength also, until your personality is half my type. Gong Yue no would leave to take for that litany, firmly pulled his hand away her from your shoulder and answered bluntly, he arrives of winding, which it's your business. Lilian was outraged with the size of disrespect, but left the subject aside and released a little laugh, provocative. So in a a hurry. I came to give you the reward of the mission hidden. It was a mission Dark Kill 5 of the first floor that had been completed, ensuring to him 3 more coins, navies, and a bottle of poison from Laplace. Gong Hyuk was surprised for a moment, but Lillian continued. Then the next mission is to kill 10 in the first Babel walk. That, however, didn't wake up the less interest in him who sent. She dropped out bluntly. The Sukubo didn't understand immediately, and he completed coldly. I already got mine reward. No, I need nothing else. The answer, instead, to offend LA made her excited. The arrogance was something that excited her, but she still countered, don't think so, which is great thing just because everything went well in the first floor. I will teach you the real one label by Babel. Lillian channeled an energy dark in the hands that grew quickly and was directed at Gong Hyuk, but he remained quiet and ordered Administrator Sandalphon block any approximation of missions, demonic for a while. Immediately, a giant hand arose and held the succubus, preventing any action in the blink of an eye of eyes. She disappeared, leaving just your voice, echoing human insolent. Mick sighed, already tired of that discomfort, and turned around for your avatar. Sorry, interrupt your meal, you can eat at ease. GM opened a mouth, monstrous, full of teeth, sharp, and it started to swallow the body of the hellhound. Gong Hyuk, as usual, lit a cigarette. Took a long time, I bring, and when finished, threw the cigarette butt about the bodies scattered on the floor. I think it's time to return playing the game as a team. About that, in the village area of the first Azazel floor, remained in the center from the square with countenance calm until you feel the approach of 3 hunters by recognizing the most trio. Fort of Babel asked, what do you want? Gong Hyuk answered directly, I came to accept the 100 mission survivors. Azazel widened the eyes. Lady Christie, it should have explained. The first floor has at most 50 survivors. Any hunter outside of this range will be killed for that demon. Young Shia Fleeter intervened. Then why not create ranking shared? The angel took a long time to process, but Yong if continued, if more of 50 hunters are tied inside the top 50, theoretically 100 people can survive. Azazel found the idea absurdly difficult, too much for come to fruition, since not depended only by force. Shanghai, however, bowed in respect. But I believe that you, Gongrik, can do this. Please just trust in him. The look of Azazel settled in Gongrik. It was you who cheated the record ranking before her. Wanted to know if he had some trick to get that. But he, with your AR of superiority, just...